What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. Happy New Year! I'm Andrew Everday, joined by a dancing Christine Steimer.
Hello!
And Miss Brittany Brumbacher is also dancing.
Hello!
We did it! We got out of 2020, ladies.
We did it. We did indeed.
Freaking God.
Yes.
What a long year. What
I'm scared
a crazy,
to even
wild
Felt
year.
like a century.
It
I
sure
feel
did.
like I know what an Asari's lifespan feels like. And it was 2020.
I know. I'm scared to say anything like, oh my God, can't wait for 2021. Because sometimes, as we've learned, those things don't age. But it'll still be hard, but I'm optimistic.
I feel like we'll start to see a light, and like
Yes.
we will be tracking towards the light. I don't know if hopefully we'll fully get out toward the end of the year, but like we still got a rose ahead of us. But things looking better. Hopefully.
I mean, it really can't get much worse. So
Don't say that. Why would you say that?
Because
You
I
are-
have to put it out
God.
into the universe.
Now
and
I'm
it's
gonna
going to
get
be
struck
better.
by lightning, and like it's gonna be your fault.
Well, I take responsibility. So normally this is where you get your video game news, commentary, analysis. You won't get those things this week because it is our most anticipated games of 2021 show. We are very excited. We do this every year, looking at the lineup of games that are announced with dates, some without dates, and running down what we are the most excited about. So you will get some funny stuff, though. I imagine there will be some tucked in there somewhere. Thank you to December's Patreon producers for making this possible, since we don't know who the January Patreon producers are yet. Chewy's Godson, Califournicated, Justin Foshee, Punkdefied, Faris Attieh, Mohammed Mohammed, Marcus Brown, and Alex Rigopolus. Thank you for supporting us. Normally, this is where we'd say welcome to the show, but because we are recording this in advance, we don't have the list of new patrons, so we will cover all of those in next week's episode, as we will also cover any new podcast reviewers, since, again, we are pre-recording this. But I do want to thank this week's sponsors, HelloFresh, MeUndies, and Logitech, but we'll tell you more about them later. Brittany, when we did our What Good Game Awards last week, we talked a little bit about what we chatted about in last year's episode. Did you happen to pull anything from our most anticipated 2020 episode?
No. I
Ooh.
didn't. But I should have. You caught me. Damn it.
No.
Caught her with her pants down.
I didn't catch you. I merely putting you on the spot. But that's all right.
did.
I will look it up while we get this conversation kicked off. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? Let's start with January. So the way that we're going to run the episode is we're going to start with January through May, the dates that have been announced. And then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the giant AAAs that have been announced but don't have dates. So you pulled this list from our good old friends at Game Informer. They keep a running tally of all video game releases throughout the year at GameInformer.com. And what do we think so far about January's list of games,
Well,
ladies?
there's one thing on here, or that's not on here, rather, I should say, that we really have to talk about, and that's Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, snap.
Because this is
That's a
when,
good
theoretically, the next-gen console patch will actually be out. It will actually run better, look better. So, like, if
Is
you're...
January what they were saying?
I don't know,
January
said
and February.
January and February. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, this is when, theoretically, if you want to play on console and on next-gen, you will actually, hopefully, possibly, fingers crossed, get that next-gen experience.
That's probably like legit the most exciting part.
Right. And that's well, when I was looking through this list, I was like, honestly, most of these are kind of whatever for me, but I am excited to actually hopefully get a better experience for Cyberpunk.
Same.
One.
Yeah.
I completely put the game down. I restarted the game 3 times, and that was 3 too many times. I should have only had to start the game once.
It's true.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait until the Xbox Series X version is available. I bought the Xbox One version, and I bought the Stadia version as well, and I have the PS4 code, and just none of them were quite up to snuff. So hopefully the patches will improve, and then at the end of 2021, we will be talking about Cyberpunk for Game of the Year contention. But right now, that game is not ready.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous in a sense that I want to put it down, but I'm at a point where maybe I'm just lucky where I'm not really having too many issues with the game, nothing I can't forgive, and I'm very invested in the story now. But I kind of do want to wait until it's going to look all nice and fancy on the next generation.
Yeah, because right now it looks like whatever.
It looks like Dookie. I'm saying it.
I mean,
it doesn't look
good.
I mean,
mine
see
doesn't
those
look
PC screenshots, and I'm like,
compared to PC.
Like.
It looks like Dookie 100% compared to other games. It's not bad on the Xbox Series X, which is an Xbox One X build.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Anywho, the other game though I am kind of excited about. I'm not like super duper excited, but I definitely want to check it out. Is The Medium, and this is the next game by Bloober Team, who you know from Layers of Fear, and then I think they also made Observation. But this is a one where you are a medium living in two different worlds, and you're haunted by the vision of a child's murder, which sounds very uplifting. But you have two different timelines that you're playing in between constantly, and Troy Baker is the antagonist in this game, which sounds kind of fun.
Is. He's really good at being evil.
Yeah, not Troy Baker. He's just an evil person.
But it looks like it's only an 8 to 10 hour experience, which to me sounds great. That's not too long, especially for this kind of game.
That's
right?
Yeah. If I was into horror-y things, which I'm not, that would be interesting to me. But
yeah, it's a timed exclusive on Xbox Series X and S, but that is out the 28th of January.
Nice.
So we'll see. Yeah. Then you move on to February.
Oh wait, hold on.
You're skipping over Hitman. You don't
hold on.
I thought we were all done.
The biggest game of January in my mind that's going to resonate with the most players is definitely Hitman 3. So IO Interactive made a big show of saying we're striking out on our own. We're going to do this game without a partner, and we're going to publish it ourselves. Now, they do have a distribution partner, I believe, but they're publishing it themselves. And after the reinvigoration they gave the Hitman franchise with the previous installment, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this game. Now, they just released a new trailer a couple of weeks back, I believe. But I feel like I still don't know a lot about this game, and I don't know if it's going to hit this date or not.
That's what you did there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even try. I swear. So I think that there's a strong likelihood that Hitman 3 will get pushed from January because of typical pandemic-related delays, knowing that the pandemic has kind of wound up over the last couple of months. And because we as members of the press haven't gotten hands-on with it yet, haven't really seen much of it, it doesn't bode well for me that this game is going to hit that January 20th release date. But that doesn't mean I'm less excited for it. I'm still very interested to see what they're doing with the game.
I like the Hitman series. I've only played a little bit, but I always get frustrated because I feel like I always fuck up royally. And I don't know, is there a way that you can just always save it? So if you do fuck up, you can just reload like a past save? Or is it typically like you have to live with the consequences of your actions if you fuck up?
That's a great question.
Do you save spam?
I don't remember
if you can save spam, I'd be totally down for that. But if there's any stealth, and I know there's a lot of stealth and you have to be incognito and super like stealthy squirrel in these games, and that's just not my forte.
Super squirrel. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to get through it, but I do think, in general, you're supposed to, stay in the shadows and not really let them know that it was you who murdered the person.
No face tank Hitman. That's not what you're supposed
face
to do.
tank Hitman is a little trickier, I think.
That's true.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the opposite of what you're supposed to do in Hitman.
It's like Hitmen usually don't run up to you on the street and pop you.
That's true.
They usually try.
I'd be good at that one.
Yeah, you would. You'd be great.
I would.
But we definitely can move on to February now.
Okay. February, ladies. February. There's actually quite a few things I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We got first one, Outriders. Now, I haven't played this, but I know the two of you have.
Yeah,
I tried.
We did a preview.
But,
you tried to play and then the technology said no.
Story of my life this year. Are you too excited for it?
I am. I think that I've had a couple of different experiences, both good and bad. The gameplay has always been a ton of fun, though. Every time I've played, regardless of the technical issues or how I felt about the narrative, I always had a blast playing, whether it was when I played with Andy and Alana or when I played with Steimer. It's just been a ton of fun to play in co-op. I am curious how the game is going to work from a leveling perspective. I still feel like I don't quite understand how the world tier difficulty system is going to stack when you have a mixed group of players that have varying levels. I think essentially you're going to have to be dropped down to the lowest player's level and play it there. But how the loot drop and the loot grind is going to be affected, I think remains to be seen with their level progression system. And I think that will ultimately dictate whether this game is going to be a fun game that players want to keep going back to. What I think is interesting about Outriders as a shooter, from People Can Fly, the people that you probably know from games like Bulletstorm, they worked famously on the Gears of War franchise, and they know shooters, is that we don't quite know narratively what's going to happen with the game either. All of the cutscenes I've seen have been beautiful, but it has a kind of generic sci-fi story. The last time we talked about this, it felt like it was pulling from a bunch of different types of sci-fi, a little bit from Mass Effect, a little bit from Destiny, a little bit from some other things. It actually looks a lot like Scavengers, the new game from Midwinter Entertainment that we saw at the Game Awards just a few weeks back. And so I'm like, I don't know how this game is going to do. I feel like this game may have benefited from releasing in early access, but this isn't a live service game, which I think is the really interesting part about Outriders, is that they have made a very big point to say, we're not a live service game. This is not a game that we're going to do rolling updates for. You're going to get all of the content in the game when the game ships. And we don't see a lot of developers making that big of a show of saying that now, because we've seen a lot of people be very successful with live service games. So I think that that's an interesting choice, but again, one we haven't seen fully realized to know like what kind of a full gameplay experience we're going to get. Are you thinking about like cinnamon buns or something?
Oh God, why did you say cinnamon buns?
Honestly, I was like, have I had my iron today? That's legit what was going through my mind. I can't even lie to you about it. Okay, well, there's that. I have more unless time, or you want to, I don't want to like hog the whole thing.
No, I mean, looking at this, I'm like, there's nothing that I'm like champing at the bit to play in February.
Persona 5 Strikers?
I mean, like I even like I do think Outriders will be fun. Just because I enjoy. Once I figured out what I was supposed to do, it wasn't very fun for the first few minutes where I was like, "What the fuck's going on? Like, why?" I'd keep dying. And you were like, "Well, you heal by doing this because you're this class," and I was like, "Would have been nice if someone told me that. Thanks." Because we weren't going through a normal tutorial as you would if you were playing the game, which is the case in a lot of preview events where they just kind of dump you in and you don't really know what's going on. But once I got the hang of it, I was like, oh, it's actually really an interesting way to approach classes. And so I did think that the gameplay was pretty interesting there. So that'll be fun to run around with you in, because I already know that you won't play with us.
It's
Brittany.
true. It's sad, but true.
I don't even deny anymore. It's fine.
No, you should, which is good. I appreciate it. I appreciate honesty so much. You know this.
Yeah, I know. I tell you how it is. I know you like it. Well, I'm excited for Persona Strikers because it is a sequel to Persona 5. So I'm excited mostly because of the story aspect of it, right? Like, what's going to happen? It takes place 6 months after Persona 5. What's everyone doing? And I know the Dynasty Wars gameplay can turn people off, but because I have been playing Age of Calamity and I've really had fun with it, I'm not too worried about it. I obviously do wish like this was going to be a typical Persona game. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
but that's not what we're getting. So I understand.
Like I'll probably still play it. Because like you said, you've been enjoying your time with Age of Calamity and just like kind of hack and slash and mindless whatever. And like that sounds kind of good, especially towards the beginning of the year. We're like, oh, a mindless thing with a game that I really like. Okay, like sure.
Yeah.
But I do think the name of it to me, maybe I'm the only one, but it makes me think of soccer.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of wish we were getting like a Persona 5 soccer foosball game of some kind. Like, I just think that would be so funny and interesting. And I actually like,
amazing.
I don't know. I think that'd be cute. They should do that.
Somebody greenlight
this game.
I mean, I would play it. Esports, baby, let's go. The other one I'm looking forward to also is the new Bowser's Fury expansion for Super Mario 3D World. Again, like that just kind of goes back to a simple, easy peasy game, a relaxing game, especially toward the beginning of the year. We don't know like anything about it yet. It's supposed to be coming in mid-February, so it probably will get pushed if I had to take a guess. So who knows?
What about Bravely Default? Are you excited for that?
That's the other Switch game. I'm kind of like lukewarm on it. Like those games are fun I think the gameplay is great, but the story itself, like the characters all just look a little dead inside. Just from what I've seen anyway, it just looks like it's a little light.
Ah, yes, those soulless eyes.
Slightly dead inside.
Just slightly dead inside. So I definitely will give it a shot. I guess my concern is I don't know if I'll be hooked. I don't know if it'll be engaging enough, but
yeah, that's another one that I will also be like, okay, I'm going to give this a good old college try, as they say, and then we'll see how I fare. Because there have been definitely JRPGs I've attempted on my Switch that I've made like 10 hours in and then abandoned.
Yeah,
and,
it's like you just know you just know within that time frame.
Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of it. The one everyone was really excited about from Square a while ago was like the weird 8-bitty, not weird.
Oh, Octopath Traveler?
Yes, Octopath.
Yes.
Octopath I abandoned. Mostly because I was just like, oh man, I can't do
Bravely
like 90
Default
hours.
is brought to you by the team that made Bravely and Octopath Traveler. So
yes,
we'll see.
So we'll see. Well, I'll probably
pretty.
play it for like 10 hours and then I'll probably quit. That's probably what the future of me in that game is.
Yeah,
right.
Octopath was really fun, but yeah, they just didn't. We talked about this, but they just didn't tie in all the story together, and all the characters were kind of their own separate thing. And it would have been better if it was like one unified story.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah. Shall we move on?
To the best of
Let's
us.
move on.
Let's move on to March. The Ides of March.
Oh, this is gonna be such a good month for me.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
It looks like it.
Oh, I'm so
all
happy.
Of the things.
I've got all of the things. I have Harvest Moon One World, which is coming on
Wait,
March
are you actually
2nd.
going to play that one? Because you already said how much you hate Harvest Moon.
Right.
Now.
I see. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Okay,
I think it's going to be a bad game, but I have to try it. I just have to, for science. Yeah. But what I'm mostly excited about are Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, which is coming on March 23rd for reasons I've talked about.
And that's
before.
the one, the strawberry cows.
Strawberry cows, absolutely.
Okay.
And it looks like they're just taking all of the good things about the Story of Seasons games, putting it in one pot of love and strawberry cows, and then they're giving it to us on the Switch. And
Amazing.
This is going to be
I'll put it on my calendar.
Yes, do it. It's going to be the first like mainline Story of Seasons game on a console. Because the last one, Friends of Mineral Town, was more of like a port than anything, but this is like a true blue sequel. I'm so excited. And then on the 31st is My Time at Sandrock, which is the My Time at Persia sequel. But
oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
But that's only coming to PC, and it's not coming to consoles till like summer of 2022. It's like way out there. So I don't know. I'll probably give it a shot on PC because I mean, why not?
Yeah.
And
Why
Yakuza
not,
Like a
indeed.
Dragon's coming to PS5 as well.
What is this Yakuza 6 Song of Life?
Yakuza 6 Song of Life is the 6th and final mainline series for Kiryu, which has been like the main protagonist since Yakuza 0.
Got it.
So Yakuza 6 essentially kind of ends his storyline, and then you have Yakuza 7, which picks up with Ichiban.
Ichiban.
I'm gonna be a farming fool in
Yakuzas
March.
to keep track of. I
There's
can't
much.
deal.
Yeah, because it's like a Dragon will
lot.
come to PS5 that month too, which obviously you don't need to play because you already played it. But
I could find an
Anybody
excuse.
interested in this Prince of Persia remake?
No.
No, I have fully admit that I have
It's
no
a
desire. I
remake,
never
so
played the
no.
original. I have no nostalgia for the original. I'm just like, cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
got
how I am
nothing.
with it. I mean, if I'm really bored, I might play it, but I don't anticipate that being the case. I'm very rarely bored these days. I've got a lot to do.
There's a lot of games to play still.
But
a lot of catch up.
But now I'm very excited for the Olive Town.
Yes.
I keep hearing Brittany talk about it, and I've always I loved those Harvest Moon games, like back when they were good.
Back when they were
So,
good. Yeah, exactly.
Having a good one of those again sounds really pleasant.
Yeah, and oh, sorry. I was looking at It Takes Two. I didn't realize that was coming out in March of next year. Just announced at the Game Awards from Hazelight Studio. It's that co-op game where the couple turns into like little claymation figures, and in order to be changed back, they have to like work together.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't recognize the title, but that's also going to be a fun one. It looks like a really cute co-op game for sure.
Yeah. When we watched the Game Awards, we were like, "That's a Jason and Brittany game."
It is. It definitely is. I mean, we both really liked A Way Out also. I mean, the ending was fucking bullshit, but I digress. But no, I think It Takes Two will be fun. Like, yeah, March is going to be a nice, chill month. I feel like these first 3 months are just going to be relaxing. You know?
It's a nice change of pace from this year, because this
That's
year
true.
felt
Like,
like just like bam, bam, bam.
I'm just worried about jinxing it, but then I realized because of the pandemic, we're probably fine.
Yes.
Yeah. You're probably fine.
We're already in the
Probably
pandemic.
fine.
We're already in it. We're probably okay. We good.
Yeah.
We're good. Yep, indeed.
Then moving on to April, it's starting to get pretty slim pickings for concrete release dates. Now, that doesn't mean we can't get a release date in April. It's possible that one of these big AAAs that's been announced that doesn't have a date could have a big marketing beat in January or February and say, hey, the game is ready. We're going to launch in April. But I think after seeing what happened with several publishers this year with the pandemic having to make small delays, they're very tepid about announcing anything date-wise, which is for the best, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they need a specific date until you like are a little further along maybe in production. You got a really better idea of when you think you're going to be done. But
Yeah, precisely. But I have never really been a Nier player, but I know that a lot of people are very excited about Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139. Also, fuck
Why?
you, Square Enix.
why?
How dare you?
Why?
Why?
How dare you?
Why do you do this to your shit?
I don't know.
Why? We should be
They're
this in
just like,
Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, I'm
man.
sure the number means some bullshit, but it's like, come on.
Doesn't it always mean some
Yes.
bullshit?
No, but like,
goodness.
yeah, you're right. Like, it's in terms of like how it slows down. I'm actually pretty excited about that actually, because I think that I have a lot of catch up I need to do. Like, I still need to play Spider-Man. I still want to play Hades. I need to play Cyberpunk. And so going into April, assuming that we get no huge announcements, because there are some rumors that we're going to be getting some state of plays here pretty soon, it gives me lots of time to kind of just play these chill games. And then by that point, you're like, a third of the way through the year. And it's just been chill.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then bam, it's May and E3. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, goodness.
Britney's face.
God, seriously? My heart stopped for a second. I was like, oh shit.
I feel like it sneaks up on us every year that Q1 just blazes by. We go rip roaring into the holidays, coming off of, retail release for the holiday season. And then things kind of, go quiet a little bit. I mean, last year, January and February, we were flying around quite a bit, going to preview events. We had the DICE Awards in Las Vegas. I went to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show last year, which is going all digital this year. So I feel like it's going to be a very different early part of the year than we've had previously. And of course, we know PAX East has been moved very sadly to June, which we're not going to get into now. Very disappointed that they moved to June, knowing E3 is literally 5
weeks
6 days?
after?
Not
Yeah.
even 2 weeks.
Oh, a week after?
Well, the official start, we talked about this on the Patreon stream, which of course, if you weren't at the happy hour Q&A, you missed, but we talked about how E3 in earnest starts 4 or 5 days ahead of when the show actually kicks off on that Tuesday.
Because of all the conferences.
Correct, because of all the press conferences, EA Play, all that stuff. And so we don't know what's going to happen with 2021's dates because of the pandemic. The ESA has not made public what their plans are as far as in-person versus digital. But we do know what the dates are that have been announced, which is the 15th through the 17th. And PAX is the 3rd through the 6th of June or something. And so it's just days away from each other, which is tragic.
Yeah.
But what's not tragic is Deathloop. I'm glad that they delayed this game.
It might be tragic. Sounds like a pretty fucked up storyline.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean, the game itself, though, doesn't look tragic.
The game looks cool, yeah.
Arcane, I like what they do. I like their art style. I like how unique their games feel. I like how when you play an arcade game or an Arcane game, it feels like they have an identity. And so few
they have
developers
a perspective, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was originally supposed to come out this year and had been delayed until 2021. And as we've seen, this is not an uncommon story, but is now slated for May 21st, 2021.
Happy birthday to me. Let's go.
Happy birthday. Here's a game
You get to
about
play a game about dying.
being trapped in a death loop. Isn't it fun?
I think it actually sounds pretty fun. It's a cool premises where you have all these idiots who are just partying all day, killing each other, and then the day starts over again. They don't remember anything, but you do. And so you have I think it's 8 targets you have to take out.
You have to try and take out in one day.
Yeah,
but then
and then
someone's
you have-
hunting you.
Yeah, you have the woman who's hunting you, and then an actual player can take control of that person if you allow, if you give them permission. I'm sure it's an option in your menu, which I will not be doing. Thank you. I want a dumb AI, please.
I'm like putting this game on baby mode for sure to play through it. Because I think it looks really interesting conceptually. I just worry about the stress levels of like trying to get it all done. And especially especially not allowing a real player to come in and try and hunt me because no thank you. That sounds very stressful.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool option. It's a very cool and interesting way to think about your game and to build it. So like I think people will have a lot of fun with that for sure.
And then when it comes to June, I know this Game Informer article didn't have it, but Back 4 Blood has been announced for June 22nd for Xbox Series X, PS5, PC. And that is the Turtle Rock spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead called Back 4 Blood.
Oh.
I think
I
that's
swear to God,
fun.
I'm still so angry at Left 4 Dead.
Why?
Because I was playing with a group of friends. I was on the boat.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was on the boat.
Get it out, Sammer. Get it out.
And then one of those big dumb zombies hurled a rock at me, and I was not dead. I was fucking downed. And somebody went to go revive me, and the cutscene started, and it did not give me the achievement for finishing that level. And I was like, fuck this game. I was on the goddamn boat, and I was not dead. How dare you? So I have an issue with them, and I will forever have an issue with them.
Clearly.
And there we go. That's that.
I'm happy. Well, that's the most animated I've seen you in a long time, baby girl. You were
least-
fired up.
I was mad. I deserved that achievement.
You
didn't want to go back and do it again.
No. I fucking did it. I already did it. Why would I need to do it again when I did it?
Fair. That's how I felt about my Horizon Platinum. Literally the only platinum in the history of my career playing PlayStation 4 games. Never got any other platinums. Only went after Horizon Zero Dawn. And it bugged. Never got it. Never popped. Tried resyncing my trophies, doing all that business, all that jazz. Nope. Never worked. Rip. Rip indeed. Well, on that note, let's take our first break of the show, shall we? When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the biggest AAAs that we're excited about that don't have release dates that will hopefully be coming in 2021? That's the year. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back.
This week's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. HelloFresh is easy and stress-free. It offers convenient no-contact delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking with a family, and the recipes are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures to guide you along the way. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips, so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes. And there's great value there. You save 40% when you use HelloFresh versus shopping at the grocery store, so you don't get distracted by all the other things on the shelves. Feeding the whole family has never been easier with lower prices for larger box sizes, so more servings means more savings. And they've got a delicious and nutritious variety of recipes, like the Easy Bee and Cheesy Quesadillas that I just had for lunch, which are just delicious, and they were easy. Go figure. HelloFresh delivers fresh, high-quality, pre-portioned ingredients so you can make meals that are delicious and nutritious. Over 90% of ingredients are sourced directly from growers to ensure peak flavor and ripeness. And HelloFresh offers more than 20 chef-crafted, delicious options every week to help you break out your recipe rut, try new things, and make any night feel special. There's something everyone will enjoy, including 20-minute meals, low-calorie, vegetarian, kid-approved recipes, and more. And HelloFresh is the first global carbon-neutral meal kit company. And by skipping the grocery store and using HelloFresh, you're reducing your food waste by about 25%. So if you want to give it a try, you can start your new year with some new meals. Go to HelloFresh.com/whatsgood10 and use code whatsgood10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/whatsgood10 and use code whatsgood10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping.
Today's episode of What's Good Games is also brought to you by Logitech. I've talked before about how much I love my G733 Lightspeed wireless gaming headset that features 2.4 gigahertz wireless connectivity, front-facing dual-zone light-sync RGB accent lights, Blue Voice mic technology, Pro G audio drivers, and multiple colorways to choose from. You guys can have total freedom with up to 20 meters of wireless range with your Lightspeed wireless headset and keep playing with 29 plus hours of battery life. That battery life is so important when you have a wireless gaming headset because nothing is worse than losing power when you're in the middle of something really important, whether you're raiding with your friends or if you're in a PvP match. Having that battery life is such a great feature. Plus, you can personalize your headset with that reversible suspension headband that's designed for ultimate comfort during long play sessions. Each G733 colorway has its own unique headband design, and they come with soft dual-layer memory foam that conforms to your head and contours around the jaw for a better seal, reducing stress points and deliver long-lasting comfort. But the personalization part is where you get to pick which color you want. So while the purple headset that I have, for example, in lilac is the exact color, came with this really snazzy yellow band, I love the other colors and how you can kind of mix and match them to get a bunch of different unique looks while also retaining the comfort that that suspension headband really provides. It's one of the most comfortable headsets I've ever worn. And the G733 is available in multiple colorways. If lilac isn't your thing, I get it. Purple's not for everybody. I mean, I don't really get it because purple's kind of one of my favorite colors if it wasn't obvious from all of our What's Good Games colors, but I digress. If you guys want to get your hands on some awesome Logitech G products, we have got a promo code to snag yourself some express shipping. That's right. If you head to logitechg.com and use the code What's Good Games free ship 11, you're going to get express shipping today. But this promo code expires very soon, you guys, in just 3 days. So you've got to use it quickly. Hopefully you've been listening to me talk about Logitech products all year long and how much I love working with them. I mean, I've got the Logitech keyboard here, the G915. I've got the Logitech Pro mouse. I've got the Logitech Brio webcam. I mean, they just make great stuff. If you guys want to get express shipping today, go to logitechg.com and use the code What's Good Games free ship 11 today.
This week's episode of What's Good Games is brought to you by MeUndies. Every year, we hear people telling us to change something about ourselves. New year, new you, right? Wrong. You're already amazing, so why not change something else other than you, like your underwear drawer? This year, MeUndies wants you to fully express everything about yourself authentically and comfortably. And after the year we just had, you deserve time for yourself to get cozy in the softest undies and loungewear all year long. Now that it's dark out by like 4 p.m., I know all you want to do is become one with your couch. MeUndies also gets that, which is why they want to help you step up your cozy game. Their loungewear and undies are super soft and come in everything from classic to adventurous prints. They're literally made for your couch. And guess what? You don't even have to leave that couch with a MeUndies membership, which is a subscription that sends new pairs right to your door. With site-wide savings and exclusive sales, you'll automatically pay less for everything, and who doesn't love that? MeUndies also has a great offer for our listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. MeUndies also has their problem-free philosophy. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, they will refund it or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. To get 15% off your first order and free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/WGG. That's MeUndies.com/WGG.
I just want to note that you do technically have to get off your couch to go to the door to pick up the underwear that's dropped off, but that is just a technicality because you also probably have to go to the bathroom and get water as well.
True, right.
Survival.
At some point, you do need to get up off of the couch, but for the most part, you can stay there and be really cozy.
I mean, I've definitely been living in my lounge pants, my joggers, my MeUndies onesies. They're just like in rotation. Just trying to keep them all clean, you know?
Yeah. If I was flexible enough, I'd show you my pajama pants I have on, but I'm not. Sorry.
Just describe them. What do they look like?
They're blue, and they have stormtroopers on them. I had to remember the
Ooh,
names.
nice.
Yes.
Classic Star
Those
Wars
are fun.
print.
Those are really good print.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the second part of our most anticipated games for 2021. end of the year / beginning of the new year show. And Happy New Year, by the way. It is New Year's Day when this excuse me. It's New Year's Day when this podcast is publishing. That's what I was trying to say there.
I thought you were just going a little Moira.
It's published. We've been
Schitt's
rewatching
Creek.
more Schitt's Creek with Steimer. It's been great. Also, if you haven't watched it yet, you should check it out. But we're talking about games we're looking forward to in 2021. Now, we spent the first part of the episode talking about games that have dates. And now we're talking about the games I think that a lot of us are
They're a little more nebulous.
really excited for. But we don't know if they're actually coming in 2021. Rip
True.
Dying Light 2.
Yeah, Dying Light 2. Don't know where you're at, but we miss you, friend.
Oh, I can't believe that we've heard literally nothing from that game. The only thing we've heard from Techland is that they were going to put out a big expansion for the first Dying Light, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did Hell Raid, and I played it, and it was very meh. I didn't even want to take the time to talk about it because it wasn't that great.
You know what?
Which
Let's
sucks.
not waste any time. Let's move on to something exciting like Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh shit! Is it happening?
Snap!
Shit! I do want to go back real quick to Dying Light 2 because there was just this little update not that long ago. But
Well,
essentially, what
alright then.
happened? Sorry, yeah. There was a little rumor that it was in dev hell, which makes sense. This game was supposed to come out in spring 2020, and one of the rumors was that they were acquired by another publisher, which Techland came out and said that's not the case, and then that they were having a major conflict with the main writer and Techland themselves over their vision for where the story was going to go. Techland did come out and say none of this is true, and we are still hard at work on the game. But that literally was the last thing that we heard, and I think that was several months ago. So it's who knows where
I'm
Dying Light
not
2 is.
mad if it's we're just staying quiet while we kind of heads down crank this game out, or so that we know we're in a good place and don't do what we just did again. To me, that's better than I know we've been picking on Cyberpunk a lot, so I'm trying to not, but on the constant trickle of it's delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed. It's better to just stop talking about it and get it to a place where you're more comfortable as a company, and then be okay, now we think the date's this, and hopefully that one sticks. But stuff happens, especially in a pandemic, and making games is hard without it being a pandemic. So it is what it is, but I do hope that Dying Light 2 is okay, because I remember going into that demo during that E3 and being I don't even want to be here. I don't care about this game.
Yep.
Why am I here? And leaving it being holy shit, that looks incredible, and I want to play that game. And I did not want to play that game at all when I walked in there. So
in 2019, Summer, you even said it could have been potentially your game of the year for 2020.
Yeah, it just looked that interesting to me. And I will say, again, I'm being kind of a dick. It's fine. But all of my demos with Cyberpunk that we got into, I never got that excited about. The first one especially, I remember being very critical of, and I was there's something off about this. It was the writing and the way that the visuals looked. I didn't think it looked that good.
The voice actors too.
The
at the
voice
time,
actor
for
was
some reason.
terrible. At the time, I think they did. I think they went back and re-recorded some of those lines, but then even the next one we saw the next year, I was kind of okay, this is a little better, but I'm not flipping out over it. But yeah, when I left Dying Light 2, I was oh my god, that sounds super interesting, and was so beautiful. I still can't get over the beautiful textures and colors and vibrancy of that game. And I think that that's something that I really appreciate, especially when we're talking about a post-apocalyptic game. Sometimes they can be really hazy and kind of muddy, and the color palette might not be what you would really want. But I didn't feel that way at all, at least about the sliver that they showed us in the game.
Yeah, it's just been delayed indefinitely. And that's
one day we'll get Dying Light 2.
We will.
And hopefully it will be good.
Yeah, I honestly hope that they're looking at what's happening with Cyberpunk, and they're saying, if we had any chance of what?
Oh, saying let's not do that.
Let's not even bother with last gen. Let's just leave last gen behind. I'm sorry, PS4 and Xbox One. This game, because that game also looks wildly ambitious from an open world technical standpoint. So I think that they are hopefully reevaluating if it makes sense from a processing perspective to even bother trying to release.
Trying to like
a
crunch that
cross-gen.
down on a
Yeah.
older console.
I hope they're thinking, no, it doesn't make sense. Let's just go.
Or
full
if they
steam ahead to the
do,
new
if
generation.
they do, I hope that they release the actual next gen version at the same time as the old version, so that people with the new consoles can actually enjoy something worthwhile.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Okay. We can go back to Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Andrea.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
No,
we took
that's
a slight
okay.
detour through Dying Light
we
Land.
took a little detour. Yeah.
No,
Breath
I
of the
think what
Wild
I'm
2.
probably going to do is I'll probably just cut around that. Quite honestly.
Okay. Well, I'll just do a nice little clean intro for you then. The next game I freaking hope we hear something soon on is Breath of the Wild 2. So in September, the last time we kind of got some Zelda news when Age of Calamity was a thing, I think it was announced in September. Zelda team came on, was like, please just wait a little longer before we can share some news with you about Breath of the Wild 2. Because this was announced 2 years ago. Was it? Or was it E3 2019?
It was E3 2019.
Okay, it was. Okay, yeah. And so there's a whole bunch of fun, wild fan theories on that. So I definitely think we'll hear something on this, hopefully in the first half of 2021. But what's really exciting about it is keep talking about Age of Calamity, but Age of Calamity is doing a really fun thing where it's kind of foreshadowing what could happen in Breath of the Wild 2, which has me very excited. As you ladies know, I've never been like super on the Breath of the Wild dick train. It's just like, it's, why did I say dick train? Whatever. You know what I mean.
I don't know, but I knew what you meant.
Thanks,
was
baby.
like,
You
The
speak,
dick train.
kind of a gross way of describing it, but okay. We'll get on board.
you speak Brit. And I appreciate that. You understand me. Thank you. Maybe you don't speak it, but you understand it. Anyway, I think what we're seeing in Age of Calamity is just the potential for awesomeness and excitement, and something that could get me very, very, very hyped about Breath of the Wild 2, which is good. It's a good thing.
I only will be. I didn't finish Breath of the Wild. Because again, one of those games that I played for probably 10 plus hours, but then was like, my stick keeps breaking.
It's an
And
annoying part of the game for sure.
and I
still
don't
think
like
it's
it.
hilarious that I beat the story of Breath of the Wild before either of you did, and I've never finished a Zelda game before. Well, I did finish A Link Between Worlds, so take that back. But
I mean,
Yeah.
I've never finished a Zelda game either. So, if Breath of the Wild 2 removes that mechanic, it is a strong contender for me actually finishing it. But I was just so irritated with the weapons breaking that I was like, you know what, I'm really not that interested. Please
Yeah,
don't at me.
I definitely hope that they bring that, not bring that back. I definitely hope that they get rid of that.
Yeah.
That they optimize the game. Because I imagine they're not reinventing the wheel here with Breath of the Wild 2.
Nor should they need to, really.
No, of
but
course
yeah.
not. I think that they just need to refine. Like they need to edit a little bit in terms of how large the game was from a geographical perspective, and feeling like there was a lot of empty spaces that felt empty. And maybe like editing it down and making it a little bit more impactful, or filling those empty spaces with more things from like Legacy Zelda, as you said, Britt, like more dungeons instead of shrines, right?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
The pleasure
And
grunts.
there's my grunts, my link grunts. Yeah, and especially since I feel like there were so many towns in Breath of the Wild, but they had no life to them. I'll never forget, there's this cute little coastal town that I came across. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. What am I going to learn here? And there were like 3 residences, and they had maybe 2 sentences of stuff to say. And I was like, okay, this is dumb.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. And so I know everyone thinks Breath of the Wild really rewards exploration, and to an extent, I can see that. But I want to see more than just chests filled with rupees and Koroks. Like, I want to see interesting NPCs with interesting side stories. Like, that's what I want. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Also, I
Can
think
you imagine if you just wandered around collecting money out of chests?
I mean, listen, in real life, that'd be great.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you're just like, you're like, I wish it rewarded you for the exploration with more than rupees. I'm like, it's literally money. Like you just walk around and collect shit, and like you're usually stealing it from somebody else, but nobody
true.
gets mad at you.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I mean, it's true. I do think we do have the potential also for some multiplayer component too in Breath of the Wild too. If you look at the teaser trailer, it's Zelda and Link, and Zelda's cut her hair. She's like a little adventurer now, and I think it would be really fun to see some co-op action.
I want to
or some
play as her.
action. Yeah, and that's just it. Yeah, give us a playable Zelda.
That'd be
Like,
fun.
She's a badass. Like, before, I admit, I thought this Zelda was very weak in Breath of the Wild. But again, Age of Calamity has shifted my perspective of her because Age of Calamity has more story in that game. And then I think the entirety of Breath of the Wild does.
Yikes.
So
Yikes.
yeah. I mean, meaningful story is probably what I should say. Anyway, I'm much more like into it now that I've played that. And I'm like, oh, these are actually interesting characters. Please expand upon them more. Thank you.
Yes, please, and thank you.
Yes.
Another big game I think that all three of us are very much looking forward to, as a lot of you are out there, is Horizon Forbidden West. So
Yes.
this is the follow-up to Horizon Zero Dawn from Guerrilla Games and Sony Interactive Entertainment. We absolutely adored Horizon Zero Dawn here. I believe it was Steimer and I's game of the year in 2017 because Brittany refused to play it. And then when she did, I was like, oh my God, I see the light.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of us. One of us.
I hope that. You were right. You were right.
I love what we saw in the teaser in the State of Play earlier this year. I should say in 2020, since it's now technically 2021, from Sony and Guerrilla. I think the idea that they're going to take the amazing immersive world that they developed in Zero Dawn and just make it even bigger and add more mechanics and add like more environments. I'm pumped to see the new machines, to get more from this story. I loved the story of Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought it was one of the best narratives in video games we've gotten in a really long time. So I could not be more excited for this game.
Dude, same. Because yeah, like you mentioned, when one of the things we talked about that year when it came out was like, this is actually a video game story that feels fresh and interesting, and they also aren't afraid to tackle answers or tackle questions rather, and they do give you answers that like make sense. And I was very surprised because when I started that game I was like, they're probably gonna do some like dumb bullshit at the end where it's gonna be kind of like oh okay, sure, like sort of a moment, and instead I felt like, whoa, cool. And so that feeling was really interesting to me because it's not what you get a lot in video games. So I'm really hoping that they can continue with that same, that same momentum and carry that through into Forbidden West.
I just want more Aloy. She's such a fun character.
Yes,
I love her so much.
Ashley
the best.
Birch.
Yeah, I'm
And
very, very excited.
I really want my tripwires back.
Ooh.
Oh, you were a tripwire person, huh?
Oh man, I spanned I had a fucking perimeter about 3 deep of just tripwires. And I'd whisper to those little machine bitches and they'd come over here and they wouldn't just explode. Oh, it was so great.
Those little machine bitches.
It was so great. Come over here.
Come here.
Come here.
I just thought the game so excellently like push you to use all of the different tools in your arsenal in those combat encounters to make it seem like, hey, we didn't just put this in the game to be throwaway. We put this in the game for you to use it, and we're going to push you into a situation where you're going to be forced into using it. And so few games get that right in their combat, and I think Guerrilla just nailed it with Horizon.
They did such a good job, and it didn't give you so much that you felt overwhelmed. It was like you were always like crafting stuff on the go, but you knew exactly what you needed for whatever combat situation you were in. And like you said, I can't stand it when games force you to do something or use something, because most of the time, like you said, they bork it. They don't do it correctly. But in this, it was like, oh, I'm excited to use this, and then I'm going to use this. And it was a really exciting, visceral combat experience in Horizon. And I loved it so much. And again, I'll say it again. You two were right. Alexa was right, because she even played it before I did. And she said she loved it. Yeah, I was wrong.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
We don't have a date for this, though. We just have a vague 2021. So that could mean May. It could mean October, September, November. Sony Interactive Entertainment, kind of is all over the place with where they release games. They obviously have released games in April. That's when God of War came out, the year it was released. And we know that they also released big games in the fall. So I think that, they also released Ghost of Tsushima in July this year.
Yep.
Which is something that it was wild when we all heard it, because not only was it the month immediately following The Last of Us Part 2, but we were like, July is usually like a no man's land for video game releases because of the summer season here in North America. But that game crushed it.
Yep.
So
pandemic, man.
Maybe you should start releasing your games in the summer when there's a pandemic. It's a great idea.
Totally feels like a marketing campaign you can count on.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
No, definitely not.
But so I hope it doesn't get delayed. But of course, If it needs to, it needs to. I want this game to be amazing. I want my socks to be knocked off when this game comes out. I want to look at it and go, this is the greatest game of all time. No pressure though,
Wow.
Gorilla.
No pressure. Like, but I mean, like, they managed to go from just doing first-person shooters to that, and like, to me, the leap is astounding. I don't know how they did it. Like, that's wild to me. It's very difficult to do, and they were just like, I think we'll just crush it. It'll be fine. And you're just like, wait.
And on top of it, we're
What?
just gonna make this Decima engine that like looks gorgeous on the PlayStation 4 NBD.
Like, pay them all of the money in the world. Holy shit. Like, they're like the most talented people. Bow down to them up there. Like, are they in Sweden or Norway?
They're definitely somewhere in like the Scandinavia area.
Yeah, I don't remember
I'd have to
which,
look it up. Hold on, let's see.
Don't remember if it's
Now we're learning. Geography lesson, ladies and gentlemen.
They're in Amsterdam.
Oh, they're in Amsterdam. Oh, neat. So the Netherlands, not Sweden or Norway. Those
well,
are different
right across
countries.
the pond from Scandinavia. Very close, but no,
Yes.
not quite. But yes, so they're Dutch.
Yes.
But yes, the game is exciting. We're very excited. We hope y'all are excited. We hope we get this game. While we're talking about Sony, there's a long list of games that we're excited about and want to talk about. I feel like we have to talk about God of War Ragnarok.
Yes.
When they debuted this at the State of Play as like the stinger, right? And just one more thing, they
BT
dropped
dupes.
the God of War Ragnarok with the 2021. I was actually very surprised because I thought for sure it would be 2022 or beyond. I thought for sure we would get Horizon first, and that they wouldn't want to put Horizon and God of War head to head in a single calendar year. But it appears that may be the case.
Holy shit. I mean, you want to sell some PS5s, man. That's what you do.
I mean, they did Tilu and Ghost of Tsushima, like you said, back to back this year. It seemed to go fine. Like,
It did.
So,
It went totally fine for them.
So I mean, maybe they're just like, if they're ready, they're ready. That being said, like, it seems ambitious to try and get that game out this year, but
I
hope that
incredible.
the production team is like, no, we got it, or like, we know what we're doing. I only say that because I do know a friend of the show, Alana Pierce, did confirm she's moved over to that team as a writer on the game. And so I'm just like, well, if they're writers, if they're still writing it right now, are you gonna finish this in 2021? Like, that's the part where I'm like,
yeah.
Coming out even like mid 2021 to
no,
late
like, if
2021.
this game comes out in 2021, it's definitely like November.
Yeah.
Late.
Yeah, like around.
I
the
could see
holiday
Horizon
season.
coming out for sure, but I'm a little more hesitant in God of War, which is fine. We only need one a year of these bad boys, and we'll be happy. We'll be happy little gamers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Happy little gamers. But yeah, I cannot wait for more God of War. It was the game of the generation for PlayStation 4 for me. I still look at it as a masterpiece game that is a must play for any gamer.
It was fine.
Cyber's like, it's fine.
I have another
That was
section.
that was how I started that game. How I started was it's a fine game.
Fuck the wolves. This is
And then
fine.
I was like, oh no, holy shit, this is an amazing game. Like, this is bow down.
Bow down worthy.
It's a
More
life-changing
Boy
game.
Simulator. Yeah, and we won't go into spoilers, but I'm really excited to see where that story goes and how it moves on. The next game, which isn't necessarily a Sony thing, but I feel like there's going to be some Sony shit associated with it, is Resident Evil Village. And this is interesting because, again, like, our little friend, I say little friend, I don't know this person, I don't think this person knows us, Dusk Golem, Aesthetic Gamer, the person who has leaked correctly a lot of recent Resident Evil announcements, has said that there will be a state of play in January, and that's when we should get more Horizon info and possibly God of War info. If you want to believe it, you can. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. You do you. But I'm more inclined to believe this human. And we wouldn't be surprised too if we get more Resident Evil Village info. And I think there's a lot riding on this game because, again, it looks like Capcom's just going to go the cuckoo bonkers route, which is fine, and kind of go this weird like village werewolves thing, which if you look back on Resident Evil 4, it's not too surprising they would do something like this. But taking Chris in this new story, and they're kind of making him out to be the bad guy right now, and we don't know why. And so you take Ethan, this guy from Resident Evil 7, and then you take Chris, like one of the OG characters, and you mash them together. It's like, what's that relationship going to be? And I think Capcom is still going down this interesting route of we're going to do numerical releases, but then we're also going to start remaking some of the older games. And prediction, finger is out. I think that they're going to make a new game with Jill Valentine because of the ending scene in Resident Evil Nemesis, the new one. That's like my prediction for Resident Evil. Not that we're making predictions, but it is one I have. Anyhow, just do you guys think we'll get a state of play in January? Do you think that's likely?
I think it would be a great time to do a state of play.
When was the last one? I don't remember.
It was in October, wasn't it?
Perhaps.
Time has no meaning to
Let's
me, so.
look.
Let's look.
Go.
It could have been yesterday, for all I know.
All right. Ps5 Showcase was 2 months ago. I'm looking at our live reaction. September 16th. It was Andrew
wow.
and I doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think January or February, like somewhere to kick off 2021 would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Obviously Stemmer and I, don't hold the same fondness for Resident Evil because it's scary. But your happiness makes us happy, so we're excited that you're excited.
That's all I ask. Thank you, ladies.
Happy for you.
No problem. While we're on the Sony train, Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart is a game that's also coming very soon, actually. And what's interesting is that they don't have a date for this, and it was supposed to be launch window for PS5 originally talked about. And
I think early next year could still count as a launch window.
Yes, absolutely. But that's why I'm saying it's interesting that we still don't have a
that's
date.
true.
Because if it was going to be in Q1 specifically, they would probably announce a date. But Sony has historically held the actual date pretty close to the vest until it was very close to the actual date. So I think that this is an interesting game that has looked amazing in all of the gameplay demos that we've seen of it, really highlighting the technology in the PlayStation 5 as an exclusive. So I think that this could be a really great showstopper for Sony for a PS5 exclusive. And also, it's from Insomniac, who are just wonderful.
Yeah, I typically haven't been super interested in Ratchet & Clank games. I've played a few of them, for a few hours each, but they never, quite held my attention. But I do think what they did with this technically is just insane. It's insane. You can magically warp back and forth between multiple dimensions what?
You mean like in Super Mario 3?
I mean, not quite the same thing, but sure.
It's technically the same.
It's exactly the same. The same coding is required.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be reductive.
No,
I was
I
trying
know.
to be funny.
But I also know
I clearly made myself laugh.
All that matters, Andrew.
Sorry,
you do
everybody.
you.
burp, 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 burp.
Exactly.
But I think the new characters in it also, the new Lombax that comes out, you're just like, ooh, who are you?
Yeah,
Who are you? What's your
she looks
story?
cool.
She looked real cool. I have a few other PS5 games I'm excited about.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
go for
rain
it.
on anyone's train. Okay.
Yeah, no, go for it.
This one is a timed exclusive, and Square Enix has said there could be release for 2021, although I highly, highly, highly doubt it'll happen. But Final Fantasy 16, we know for sure the next big info reveal is coming sometime this year. And again, there has been a listing where they said it could happen in 2021, but I just doubt it's going to happen. But what's interesting about this is that the producer, let me get his name, Naoki Yoshida, who brought Final Fantasy XIV back from the dead and rebranded it as A Realm Reborn, he is the head producer on this game. And so that's why when we first saw the reveal of it, I think it was Andrew and I did the live reacts, this looks like Final Fantasy XIV. We didn't even know it was Final Fantasy 16 until the end of the trailer. But I would love to hear more information about this. There are obviously a lot of people out there who are dedicating a lot of time and resources to dissecting every little thing we do know about it. So if that's your cup of tea, you can go out there and learn about the 3 characters that we know about for sure so far and their potential relationships. But Final Fantasy 16, man, I would fucking love to get that because 15 came out in 2016.
Yeah, I think that that's a pipe dream. Final Fantasy 16 is not happening in 2021.
It is, but I just want more info, and they said it could happen. So I'm like, this technically falls within the category. So that means I get to gush about it a little bit.
It
But I've
does.
gushed.
I would like to see episode 2 for Final Fantasy 7 Remake out in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Stop making me wait. Don't make me wait years between releases. Please, please, please. Just don't do it.
Put on your patient pants.
I know. Patient pants are on.
Also, there's Ghostwire Tokyo, which is a timed PlayStation exclusive that's coming out.
Which we didn't mention when we talked about Deathloop earlier in the show, which is also a PS5 exclusive for console. Will be coming to PC, and we presume eventually will come to other consoles after their exclusivity period ends.
Yeah, I think it's a year. And so I don't really know much about this other than, okay, the player can use psychic and paranormal activities to defeat the ghosts haunting Tokyo, because all of Tokyo's citizens have disappeared. And now you get to do combat that's described as like karate meets magic, which I thought sounds kind of fun.
Oh my god, that sounds really cool, but I also don't want to play this game because it's spooky.
I know, it does look pretty spooky.
So this is from the team that did The Evil Within, Tango Gameworks, and they've been working with Bethesda for a few years now. And I really was surprised by how much I liked The Evil Within 2 and the combat and the pacing of that game, despite the fact that it was like a thriller horror action game. So I'm more interested in Ghostwire Tokyo than I would have been prior to playing The Evil Within 2. And I think that the work that Tango does is really great. So I'm interested to see more.
Yes, me too. That was weird.
That was weird. You sounded like you were being sarcastic, but I know you weren't.
No, it was like a weird fancy accent that didn't come through the way I'd hoped in my head.
Moving on. What?
If you insist.
You want me to cross this one off? Okay, I'll cross this one off for you.
I like checklists, and I like being able to. Sometimes I add things to a checklist just so I can cross it off because I did it.
Yeah, it's very satisfying to cross things off of a list.
It is.
Regardless of what the list is for. A game that we also saw in 2020 debuted and has some very interesting characters to it is Far Cry 6. So the Far Cry series has had a very interesting journey.
Yes, it has.
And I think that it's had some ups and downs, but overall, I think it's been a really excellent series, and the franchise has done some really great things, really maintaining their formula, but offering some innovation along the way. I think they really made a departure with Far Cry 5 and really expanding some of the gameplay options and mechanics in that game. Now, I think they may have gone a little too far, maybe needed to edit down a few things, particularly with some of the DLC they offered. I was just like, this is too much. I don't want to manage all of this. But I think with Giancarlo Esposito as the villain showcased in that really epic trailer that we got from Ubisoft, I am definitely pumped to check out what's next for Far Cry.
Yeah, I mean, I never really played the Far Cry games until 5 and then DLC, which I can't remember what the name of it was. It was like more of an expansion.
Right.
I can't remember what it was called. Anywho, but I think the reason I primarily like those is because those were co-op. I don't think we've heard anything about Far Cry 6, whether or not it's going to feature multiplayer. But for some reason, like the Far Cry games have just never really hooked me. But I think being able to play it with someone else just makes it more enticing. It's like, okay, cool. Like we can go, knock off all these little icons on this map, but at least we're doing it together and it's more fun with another human. But if this game is single player, I'll definitely try it out because of course I will. But I just have a feeling that I'll probably fizzle out.
It just gets really formulaic. It gets really repetitive. That's one of the things that I've always also found about Far Cry games and why I tend to fizzle out on them. I did finish 5, didn't like it. So like for 6, I'm like
controversial.
I'm not excited. Like I'm sure it will be a good game. I'm sure that they will make it cool, but I'm not like I need this right now because for me, Far Cry games I could honestly probably play once every 10 years and be fine. Like I could just. It's not a thing I need a lot of. Get rid of
the aerial combat. No more aerial combat.
Oh my god, that was that was so stupid.
So bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Poor choice.
Yeah. Poor choice. What about Halo Infinite?
Oh god.
So we know that that's slated for fall 2021 as of right now. Hopefully they'll be able to hit that date after having a delay here in 2020. If they don't, it'll be bad because that game has been in development for so long. That to me indicates a massive internal producing problem and management problem within 343 Industries. So something to be aware of and keep tabs on. And I have to imagine with how much money, according to Zombie Kills, $500 million invested in Halo. And again, it's not that much, but it is probably over $200 million at this point.
Yeah.
Invested into Halo. Xbox is also very invested in getting that game out the door so that they stop spending money on it.
Yeah.
I honestly can't even put it on my most anticipated list right now, because I feel like I've been excited and then the excitement was taken away. And then I was excited and then the excitement was taken away. I need to see more to be brought in. I thought that reveal they did back in July 2020 during the big Xbox Games Showcase was really great at first, and then when you go back and rewatch it, you're like, actually, I don't know how I feel about this like homage to old Halo. I really wanted something fresh and new for Xbox Series X generation. I wanted them to take Halo and say, we're going to boldly go in a direction we've never gone before with Master Chief. Now, they didn't need to reinvent the wheel, of course, but it just would have been great, I think, if they had like done something really unique with it, a la God of War, right? Like how that franchise got like a massive reboot. And like I said, they didn't need to go that far, but it doesn't feel like they've gone far enough because they're trying to appease fans of old Halo.
It feels like they're really scared to like make a move.
Right. And like, I get it. Like the fan base is rabid and actually can be quite hostile and terrifying. And that's something that developers have to reckon with, to go like, who do we want to appease? Because there's no appeasing everybody. It's like, are we going to appease the fans who keep calling for this legacy stuff? Or are we going to try to get new fans who've maybe never played Halo before? And that's a tough decision that they have to make. And I feel like we still don't know what Halo Infinite is going to be.
See, I'm one of those who, when I saw how it looked old Halo-y, I was very excited. You had the green fields, you had like the sky above you, you had Craig. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh my God, because Halo 5, I just didn't like very much. And I think that was an opportunity that they did try something new, right? They introduced a whole bunch of new protagonists. They did something fucking weird with Cortana. And again, like I get the story has to evolve, but having, played the old Halo games several times each, seeing 5 and then seeing 6 or Infinite, excuse me, it's like, oh yeah, like this looks more of like what I want from a Halo game. But also you have some new features like the grappling hook, which who knows how that's actually going to play out. I think the thing I'm most excited about though is I just want this story to make sense, because again, like what they did with Cortana is like a huge head scratcher. Like, I mean, again, if like the story and the lore of it, like, okay, I understand why she's, I was gonna say flipping tits, but I don't think that's a saying. Not at all.
Did you say flipping tits?
Apparently.
I did. Yeah, no, I did. And then I said it and I was like, I don't think that's quite what I'm trying to convey. She's going crazy for a reason that I guess makes sense according to lore, is what I'm getting at. But it's hard to imagine a future of Halo without Master Chief and Cortana as the main duo, right? So like the gameplay and the gameplay and like the aesthetics of what we saw, I was like, okay, I'm on board. But what I really want is just the story to like, I don't want him to pull kind of like what Steimer was talking about earlier with Horizon, where it's like, okay, like it's going to be an eye rolling moment, whatever. I want this to make sense, but we'll see. We'll see. But I was pleased with what I saw. But then, yeah, when you do rewind it and you go back and you're like, okay, maybe this doesn't look as polished as it should. It's not there yet, but hopefully, they have, well, I guess 8 months at this point until you're in fall.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of time to
you got some time.
Hopefully figure that out.
Yeah. Get it right.
Please. It's true. Speaking of getting it right, boy, oh boy, do I want them to get Hogwarts Legacy right. Talk about a segue. So we finally got details on the leaked Harry Potter RPG earlier in 2020's Summer of Gaming. And I, at first, wasn't very impressed by what I saw in the initial trailer. But that doesn't mean that there isn't potential for the game to be good. Now, it's rumored to be coming in 2021. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But it's certainly a game I've been looking at. But I know I'm really more of the Harry Potter buff of this group here.
So sure, I love Harry Potter, but right now I feel weird about it just because of J.K. Rowling and her going off the rails.
Oh my
and
gosh,
being like,
what a freaking nightmare she's become.
It just makes me sad because it makes me feel like I don't want to like Hogwarts anymore. But I also feel really bad for these developers who've been working on this game for a long time.
Before she
like flipped her
decided
lid
to go freaking crazy.
Yeah, and
before she flipped tits.
Before she flipped tits and turned out to be a terrible human being. And I don't know, like that is unfortunately the lens of which this game has been soured. And I'm trying to I don't know, like,
because she's not involved with the development of the game,
but obviously she owns the property, so it's like it's
it's something that everyone's gonna have to reckon with on their own. But I'm still interested in what they're going to do, because despite her being her terrible self, I still have a deep love of the Hogwarts universe and everything that the Harry Potter books mean to me, and how they meant something to me at a very specific time in my life. And I know I'm one of millions of fans who feel that way.
Yeah.
And hopefully people will be able to find a place where they're comfortable in their own skin being a fan of those fandoms. It's something that we have to talk about with art. It feels like periodically when an artist of different kinds, whether they're a movie director or a musician or an author, whoever, we discover them to be like not so great a person. And they're like, but what do I do with the art? And it's obviously a conversation we're not going to have right now.
Yeah, that show would be way longer.
And that'd be a whole show on its own. But certainly something to keep an eye on, what's going to happen with Hogwarts Legacy. But if we're talking about Warner Brothers, I thought there was another Warner Brothers game on here. I guess technically this is a Warner Brothers game. Gotham Knights. So we didn't hear anything about what was going on with Batman for the longest time. And then the WB fandom, the DC fandom happened earlier this year. Again, last year. It's going to take a while for me to remember that it's 2021.
It'll happen.
And this is from Warner Brothers Montreal, the team that brought Arkham Origins, I believe. And this is slated for 2021. And this is the game that is the multiplayer game, not to be confused with what Rocksteady is working on for Suicide Squad.
Right. That's 2022.
Yeah. Correct. This is the game that features Robin and Batgirl and the guy in the blue whose name I always forget.
The guy in the blue.
Yeah. And somebody out there listening to the podcast is screaming his name right now.
Don't scream.
Nightwing.
Yes, that's the guy. That's the one. Nightwing. And
although they wrote it as Nightwind in this, and I'm like, Nightwind. Nightwind is not that part.
So I think the gameplay reveal that we saw looked really cool. It basically looked like an Arkham game, but obviously, a fresh coat of paint and some new characters. But if we're gonna get that combat, that multiplayer experience, I think is gonna be really neat. Being able to do that co-op and have that kind of really great brawler combat that Rocksteady started and that Warner Brothers Montreal kind of picked up and do it co-op. That's going to be really cool. So I'm excited to see what that game is going to look like.
Yeah, it should be fun. I've always really liked the Arkham games, but co-op, that's even juicier.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ready to talk about a very, very related game? Not Pokemon. Hey.
I love you like,
just kidding. It's not at all.
It's not. So next year is Pokemon's 25th anniversary, and we know we're getting a celebration of sorts. So the question is, what will those celebrations hold? I think the number one thing we can definitely bank on is a Pokemon Snap release date, which I fucking cannot.
Dude, I still can't believe that really happened.
I know. I keep forgetting about it.
That's right. They did announce that, didn't they?
It's real life.
Yes,
real life, Andrea. It happened.
It actually
just
fucking
a tweet
happened.
from Joey Noelle trying to will it into existence.
No, we've all been trying to will this bitch into existence since like forever, and
our collective whole has finally done it.
It's finally happening. So yeah, I'm hoping we'll get that for next year. This year, 2021. I'm sure we will. That'll just be a fantastic day. Oh, I cannot wait. The other interesting thing is rumors of a Pokemon Diamond Pearl remake will be coming in late 2021, probably along the same lines of what Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee did, but taking those older games kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, look how excited Steimer is. Look at that enthusiasm.
Just give me the snap.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like it'll be fun and it'll be fine, but it's not like the next mainline game that we want, and I don't think that'll be coming.
We're not going to be flipping tits over it.
No flipping tits. Flipping tits. It's a universal term that can be used for a lot of things.
Yes.
The other thing that I think a lot of people forgot about, I know I did, is Pokemon Unite, which is that MOBA style game coming to mobile devices.
Oh, I totally did forget about that.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Yes. So assuming we'll hear something more on that as well, and then there'll probably be some fun little other Pokemon related announcements sprinkled within their 25th anniversary shenanigans. But it should be a fun year for Pokemon. Just give me the snap. Just give me the snap.
Into it. Obviously, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, we don't need to talk about. I'm super hyped for spring 2021. Can't wait. Let's go. Really looking forward to hearing from BioWare on what they are up-resing in the remaster, if they're tweaking anything gameplay-wise. Obviously, this is not a remake, so important to know that it's not going to be a dramatic difference, but I'm looking forward to being polished up and playable without having to do backwards compatibility. So excited about that. Steimer pointed out that one of our indie faves that we've seen at a couple PAX is Boyfriend Dungeon is supposed to be coming in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That looks like a fun one to mess around with.
The roguelike dating sim.
I mean, you got me there. I mean, I don't really love roguelikes, but dating sims?
Is this the one where the
Actually,
boyfriend?
I think it's more of like a roguelite dungeon crawler
Yeah.
than it is a full roguelite.
Yeah.
And the people you're trying to romance are your weapons.
Are your weapons.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
your,
that was fun.
your sword is like a really hot dude. And then, like,
Oh, yeah, with the dark hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one, which, I mean, we're all going to laugh when I say this, Dead Island 2. So,
Oh my
in
gosh, does that
December-
actually have a 2021 release date?
well, no, but here's the scoop. Is not Dead Island, Deep Silver confirmed in early December that the development was still happening. And because someone was tweeting about it, someone responded to their tweet and said, give it up, just focus on Dying Light, just play Dying Light. And then Deep Silver hopped in that conversation and they said, we wouldn't be so sure about that. And then a little winky face. So perhaps 2021 is the
that
year.
seems...
I'll freaking believe it when I see it, okay?
Yeah,
that
Silver.
game.
That sounds
Get
like
out of
another
here
pipe dream.
with your winky faces.
That game
Winky
has been through
faces
so much
are not...
development hell. It's
Yeah.
I feel like the first time I saw that game was 2013.
I think it was 2013.
Oh my gosh, let me look this up.
The trailer on the bomb and about to blow up, like, it was such a good trailer. It was the dude running down the boardwalk, I think, or the whatever it was in California, and there's people like rollerblading by the beach. It was so good.
It was
2014.
E3, Sony's E3 2014 media briefing.
The
7
first thing is-
years ago.
The first thing to ask, will Dead Island 2 ever be released?
Oh god, we need that for the
This
April.
item will be released December 31st, 2021, because Amazon they have to
Yeah.
have a date,
Placeholder,
so they just
yeah.
always automatically file it in there. So don't get excited. That's
Ugh.
not a real thing.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Um,
if honestly, Deep Silver is out of their freaking mind if they're going to attempt to release Dead Island 2 in the same year that Dying Light 2 is going to come out.
Yeah, it would not be great.
Like, hold on to your Dead Island 2 chips until you figure out what Techland is doing, because you don't want to release those games against each other. I can only imagine how borked the Dead Island 2 code has been over the years.
Dude.
It's not looking great.
You know what's ironic about all that is Techland was originally supposed to develop that game, but then they went to
created
WB.
Dead Island, right? Yeah.
Yeah, then they went to WB for Dying Light, and they're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, there was a lot of rumors about what went down between Techland and Deep Silver and why they left, and then they started a new zombie franchise with Dying Light, taking all of the technology they developed for Dead Island and going in a very different direction. And then Deep Silver, of course, holding on to the Dead Island IP and bringing in new developers to create and continue on in that franchise. A lot of supposed juicy drama there. But we don't want to go over absolutely every single game. I know we're going to leave a bunch out. I know a lot of people are like, well, what about Elden Ring? But let's be honest. I don't think any of us are super pumped for Elden Ring. Sorry, Souls
We
fans.
know nothing about it either. Yeah, like literally
we don't.
nothing.
We don't
It's not
really
a
know
thing
anything
that
about
we
that
would
game.
be. Yeah,
So it's
not
hard to
our
be-
wheelhouse.
Yeah, like how can it be on your most anticipated list if you don't know what it's going to be?
True.
All right, ladies,
that.
is this the time of the show where we make our I said projections. That's not a word. Predictions. It was like projection/prediction in one word for what our favorite games will be of 2021, like critically and personally.
I like this.
I'm scared only because of like if God of War and Horizon come out head to head and both do the same level as what they even did back in the day. Like that's gonna be a rough decision to try and pick between those two.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could, quite honestly.
That's why I'm hoping one of them gets pushed to 2022.
Don't make us choose. Don't make us vote them against each other at the Game Awards, okay?
Okay, so if all of these games come out, oh my god. I mean, like, think about this. If Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, God of War, Horizon, I mean, Resident Evil Village for me. like Dying Light 2. It's like, how do you even pick that? I think personally, my favorite would probably fall to Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
definitely leaning to Horizon.
And critically, I mean, if God of War, you know, if they've kept that same old staff around, I mean, I don't know how it couldn't be God of War Ragnarok critically.
Yeah, I feel like I'm fairly aligned with that, but I'd be like, it's so hard to choose between Horizon and God of War for me. But like, yeah, I probably would lean Horizon, but I don't know. Like, we got to play them. We got to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you guys there. I think that if Breath of the Wild 2, Horizon, and God of War all come out in the same year, they'll all be vying for Game of the Year, because we all know Breath of the Wild swept a bunch of awards shows the year that it came out, but I didn't personally agree with a lot of the awards that the game got. However, that's a conversation for another time. I basically echo what both of you said. Like, I think head-to-head, Horizon and God of War are both phenomenal games, and it will be like an impossible choice if they come out both in 2021 to pick which one will be personal versus critical game of the year. So I love what Sony has done with both of those games. I think both Guerrilla and Sony Santa Monica have made excellent showings with those games, and I think expectations are very high.
Oh yeah,
they've set the freaking bar real high. Sorry, Halo, you just can't hang. Sorry,
Halo's bar is like down here now. It's not. I feel like people I feel like they moved it. I feel like the whole audience as a collective was like, they saw the thing at the end of the summer. They're like, well, let's just knock this down a scotch for you. You know, you might need a little bit of help clearing the bar. It's been a while since you've been around.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to relearn how to pole vault. I don't know.
If you had to choose, though, Steimer,
what?
Which one did you pick?
I said I was leaning towards Horizon, but I won't know until obviously I play both of them. But
that's why they're called predictions, baby girl.
Yeah, I know. That's why that's why I said I lean Horizon, but I don't know.
Oh, it's Horizon for personally, and then critically God of War.
Yeah, I think roughly that would make sense to me.
Word.
All right,
we all have the same
so
picks.
exciting.
We all have the same picks, man. That's exciting.
Good year for video games if even like half of these come out.
Yes, agree. And this doesn't even count all the games that, you know, one that we didn't get to talk about, but also games that haven't been announced yet, smaller indie titles that I think we're going to come to love in 2021 as well. So let us know in the comments below what your most anticipated game for 2021 is, what you think your game of the year of 2021 is going to be, or tweet to us, leave us a comment at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Happy New Year, everybody, and thank you for supporting us here at What's Good Games. We had a fantastic 2020 with you, and let's keep it going in 2021. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.